Hello everyone, Mod Maven here with the top 5 tips I wish I knew when I started No Man's Sky. First tip is, don't be afraid to sell stuff early. Some of the things you're just not going to use. Let's take a look here real quick. So, when you start, you're going to need things like carbon and condensed carbon, ferrite, pure ferrite dust, things that you get on the planet, right? Some of the things you don't use all that much, some of these down here, like these dioxides and uranium, even though they say that they're used a lot for different things, and you can use them for charging different things like that. But some of these are less important, and it's okay to just go ahead and sell some of it early on if you're worried about slots in your inventory or you're just running low on cash. Tip number 2, let's talk about upgrades. Tip number 2 is some upgrade is better than no upgrade, but prioritize. So I have a few things here in my inventory, and I grabbed a kind of a variety here of some different C class and B class and A class, and in general what these are going to do is give you some upgrades, but it may only be in one thing, or it may be in two things, it may be in three different things. Let's show that real quick here with this scanner module. So this will go in our multi-tool, so I'll install it here. Okay, now if we drop it in here, it's gonna turn these red because we have too many of them here, but we'll talk about that later. But what we can see here is this C class is actually giving us a couple of upgrades here, an additional percentage for scanning flora and fauna. But if you look at our S class upgrades, of course, it also includes a bonus to scan radius, and the flora and fauna percentage is much higher. But that said, this will still give you, a good bonus, and early on when you need cash, it's totally fine to do something like this. So let's take that back out of there and go back here, and let's take a look at this B class scanner module. So let's drop it in here. Okay, so this one gave us two different things, but it only gave us flora and scan radius. So if you're looking to max out your cache early on, your units, pay attention when you're buying these lower class modules on what exactly it's giving you. I would say you really want to focus on the flora and fauna percentage over something like the scan radius. The scan radius is nice, but you can always just get closer. That's what's nice about these S classes, that they give you all three. In general, I would look for prioritizing things like scanning, like we've already mentioned. Also, early on, these mining beam upgrades will also make mining faster, or it'll give you additional resources as you mine. So I would prioritize your scanning and mining beam early on, and then on your exosuit, look for things that are able to give you a little more time in the air, so to speak. The tanks, the different boost powers, some of the recovery times here. Look for some of that, but again, know that some of the lower class upgrades may only give you a couple of these boosts, so you'll have to kind of pick and choose what you think is important. But I would look for these sort of boost options here, and then on your life support, this just lets it last longer. It depends on what kind of planet you're on, but I wouldn't worry too much about some of the specific protections here unless you're on a planet you know, a home planet that needs some of this, and maybe grab, you know, at least one, maybe two of these. Tip number 3 is disassemble and delete. So here in our example here in our exosuit, let's take a look at some of these modules, and I'm going to throw this one in my ship here. Okay, so one thing about this, you see there it says one of the options is to dismantle it. Just keep that in mind whenever you're working with ships or with the multi-tool or with the exosuit, anywhere these types of inventories. Don't forget that you can dismantle this stuff and it'll give you some of it back. In particular, if you're getting rid of a ship or if you're about to buy a new one or things like that, go ahead and dismantle what's here. This goes also for base parts. If you're going to delete one of your bases, go ahead and go around and disassemble the different parts of the base, because that'll give you stuff back in your inventory that you can use to build another base or what have you. So here, we'll dismantle this, and see that gives us a few things now that we can use for other ships or for building or whatever we want to do with it. Okay, on to tip number 4. We're going to talk about upgrades again. We've talked about it a little bit previously, but I wanted to point something out that really helped me early on, and something I didn't realize for quite a while actually, is that you can have 3 purchased upgrades per page of the inventory. So what do I mean by that? So here we are in our starship, just a tribute. We've got a lot of Star Wars stuff going on, that's why it's called that. So here, let's take a look at this. So this is our hyperdrive, right? So you can have 3 on each page of purchased upgrades. So see here we have 3 S-Class hyperdrive, and if we go over on technology, we can also have 3 here. Now, you see there's another S-Class here. That's actually a installed upgrade. You build it with parts, basically. So this is not something I purchased, but I installed, and that's why it can be here along with these other 3. So as you can also see here, we have 3 S-Class pulse engine and an installed S-Class. Here we have our gun upgrades, and so we have 3 here, 3 here, and then out on the main page here we have 3 for the positron and 3 for our photon cannon here as well. And again, this is a installed upgrade here and an installed upgrade here as well. So this tip also has to do with adjacency. So as we talked about, we have 3 upgrades that we can put on each page here, but also they have adjacency bonuses. So when you put a hyperdrive upgrade right next to another one, you'll see the little blue outline. See, all of these have a blue outline. This has to do with the thrusters, but if you look over here, all of these that have to do with the hyperdrive are outlined in blue, and all of these that have to do with the positron, for instance, is orange, just like it is out here. So because we have our max of 3, we can only have 3 on this page for the positron and 3 on this one, but we've put it next to things that give it a bonus. Also, you want to put your largest bonuses next to the actual thing that it's trying to give a bonus to. So if we look here at the hyperdrive, now I don't have perfect upgrades here, but you know, we can see that under hyperdrive range we have 239, 249, and 235. So those are pretty good. You know, those are pretty good upgrades, and so you want to put those pretty close to your actual hard drive. Same with the Pulse engine. Whatever is giving you the most bonus, put it next to the actual thing that's giving the bonus to. If we look back out here, so we said 235, 239, and 249. If we look out here, these are actually giving a little bit less. So 220, 235, and 219. So whenever you get these upgrades, they'll give you a certain range, even if it's the same class of upgrade. So like we were talked about earlier, if you want to add a new one to this, that's fine. We did that with some of the lower class upgrades on some of the other tips. But what you can do is add the same class here and then disassemble, like we've talked about, the one that doesn't give you a high. So if you install one here and it gave you 240, let's say, you could disassemble one of these lower numbers and it would help your hyperdrive range out. Also too, you may want to just play around with the position and adjacency. You may want to move things around a little bit so that you can maximize the range. So look over here at hyperdrive range. As you move things around, that's going to change. And you know, mine's not perfect here either, but you can move it around and get your best kind of bang for the buck, depending on the adjacency, like we've talked about, and also keeping in mind you can only have 3 of the purchased upgrades there per page, and to keep the highest or best bonuses next to the thing that they're trying to upgrade. For our last tip, tip number 5, let's talk about multi-stacking quests. One of the things you want to look for is some of these secondary missions. These are available next to where you buy things, or when you come into the space station, it's on your right hand side. Go look for the mission agent over there. They'll offer you some different missions. Now, as you can see here, what I've done is gone to several different space stations, and you want to look for ones that will stack nicely. These are ones where you are killing things or eliminating words like that, or also look for things where you're scanning. Now these take a picture. You can also have multiples of those if you like. Those are pretty easy to do. Depending on what it is, you know, just take a picture of a creature, you know, that's pretty easy. Take a look at for things that have you scan. Here we go, like this one. So it's scan minerals. Okay, as you go around to different planets and so forth, you're going to do that anyway. And these will stack, and it'll count for all of them. So in this example, where I have a bunch of these Sentinel ones that I've chosen at different space stations, all I have to do, let's say that we had to kill four of these Sentinels, right? If I killed 4, it would count for all of these, so it would all stack up. And then, so what you can do then is jump around to your different space stations and go to that agent. So let's do that real quick. Let's hop over here, and I'll show you right where this agent is. Excuse me, guys. Look out. Okay, so he's right here. So here's our little mission agent, and he's a Gek, but that will change. That'll be different for each kind of system you're in. But anyway, you want to hit browse missions here. So let's take a look. Take a photo. Probably not. As you move up, you'll unlock some of these other things. So it's a good thing to do some of these lower level ones anyway. But any of these where you're hunting for something or delivering an item or repairing an item, you can kind of tell that this is going to kind of send you on a little bit of a side quest. So I would look for the things where you're killing something, or there's another one, kill 3 monstrosities, kill a sentinel, you know, different things like that. You want to look for those sort of key words, and those will stack together and give you kind of the most bang for your buck as you're running around to different planets. All right, that just about does it for the top 5 things I wish I knew when I started No Man's Sky. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like and subscribe and do all those sorts of things, and I'll see you next time.